So hi, welcome to Noise Podcast with Emma from the Wiggles. We're going to ask her some questions today. I'm going to start. So how'd you get the opportunity to join the Wiggles, and what does the Wiggles mean to you?
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah.
I started with the Wiggles actually as a different character. So I auditioned as a ballet dancing fairy. And so that was about 12 years ago now.
Yeah.
And so since that time, I had the opportunity to try lots of other roles where I was a wiggly dancer and I played music, and I had the chance to play Dorothy the dinosaur and Wags the dog and Henry the octopus. And it just so happened that while I was a wiggly dancer, I was asked to be a wiggle. And I think when I was asked, it was such a huge shock to me because I grew up with the originals that it felt like huge, shoes to fill, because I knew how much the music meant to children and how much the original Wiggles meant to families. And so because I always loved Greg Wiggle, I couldn't believe that I was going to be passing on his skivvy, his yellow shirt, as a real tribute and to continue the music for generations to come.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah. I'm very happy that you got the opportunity to do that, because it's huge. It's a big thing. Yeah.
Greg was always my favorite, the
Same.
original.
Yeah.
His voice is so amazing because it's so casual and laid back that you feel instantly ready to listen. And even when he's giving instructions or he's trying to sort out some particular ingredients in a recipe or something like that, you always feel calm listening to his voice. And when we toured with the original lineup for their final year as the reunion of the OG Wiggles, as we like to call them, I think there was a nostalgia even performing on the stage with them, because I remembered hearing his voice as a 5-year-old and now I can hear it here as a 20-year-old, and I was like, wow, I so remember that voice and it hasn't changed. And that's a huge part of the beauty of that music at that time.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. Oh my God. So congratulations on your newest release. We're All Fruit Salad, the Wiggles' greatest hits. How do you feel about the response to the album so far?
It's pretty amazing that families are so loving the collection of songs across 3 decades. So really, you have parents that love, their favorite tracks like Get Ready to Wiggle or Hot Potato, Rockabye Baby. They're always a favorite, yes. And then bringing the new generation of Wiggle songs into it, either people whether they're millennials, teenagers, young adults, are like, oh, I've never heard Do the Propeller or Emma's Yellow Bow, to parents that are like, these are my favorite tracks.
Yeah.
And it really is such a special celebration of 30 years of the Wiggles. I'm so glad that that the album is out, B, that it's a collection of all of our favorite tracks, and C, that people have been writing to us on social media, giving us feedback about their favorites or what they remember from the Wiggles when they used to watch the Wiggles.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah,
it was definitely a trip to go back and listen to 30 years worth of music, stuff that I used to listen to every day. Two Chugga Chugga is my my favorite. It's a classic.
My favorite is Hot Potato.
Also a banger.
Such a banger. Oh my God, I love it.
So as you said, you've been a part of the Wiggles organization for like 12 years now, and you've been a Wiggle for like 8, correct?
Yeah, actually this is our 9th year, but yeah.
Oh, congratulations.
Okay. Congrats. And so far, what's been your favorite part?
Oh, that's so hard.
It is a lot.
I think, the last year, obviously being through COVID, has been really challenging for everybody. And for us, we're so used to being on the road and traveling and visiting other countries and meeting people. And so that really hasn't happened. And I think it's something that we genuinely do miss a lot, that human interaction and being able to come out on stage and seeing the children dancing along to the songs and instantly being engaged with them and their enthusiasm, which gives us energy. So for me, I think the live shows are something that's truly special, but we've tried to replicate that through technology. And so in a totally different way, I've really loved over the last couple of months performing live on YouTube or Facebook or doing Instagram live, and then people writing questions and comments straight away, which is so different. And for us to be able to react to that in real time has been, look, a great challenge, and you have to think really quickly. But also it's nice to know that people are watching it and are feeling engaged to actually ask the question during the performance, which is wonderful.
Yeah, definitely. Oh my God, that's wonderful. I love that. So you are the first woman to join the Wiggles. That is huge. I want to ask you, what does that mean to you? Do you realize like how much of an impact you're going to have on just this upcoming generation and the children that have seen you on TV, like the little girls growing up like, yo, hey, wait, she's a girl. That's crazy. Because for the past like OG Wiggles, it's been all men. How has that been for you? What has that experience been for you?
Well, I will use your expression. It's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot. And I think initially I didn't realize how important or significant it was for me to join the group at that particular time. I know that the guys really wanted to introduce a female a lot earlier. And actually, before me, we had different franchise of Wiggles. So there was the Latin American Wiggles, the Taiwanese Wiggles, and both of those Wiggles had females in them. And then moving on from that, Kylie Minogue was an honorary Wiggle, and she got to wear a pink shirt, and she joined the Wiggle to sing some songs. So for me, even thinking about Kylie, I was like, oh no, that's a lot too. There was a lot to try and make this character of Emma Wiggle become something important for the generations of our time. And now we've kind of cycled through quite a few generations within the last 9 years that now it feels like chapter 2 after the COVID pandemic, where we get to come back and really, start again. And some of the children have obviously been trying to, stay connected with us by watching the videos on our YouTube channel or on Facebook. So that's been really nice, but it will be different to see people, face to face. But in saying that, the greatest thing about technology, particularly in our generation of Wiggles, is that we've been able to connect with people that we wouldn't normally be able to visit, and some countries that we don't get to travel to, because sometimes you feel like Santa and there's like a lot of countries and you don't get to stop everywhere. And so for people in other places, especially for us in the UK or Ireland, which we haven't been to for many years, we haven't been able to see them. So for them, the Wiggles is like this, it's all digital. So look, we're very grateful. But you're right, in terms of the rise of the significance of equality of women, it is very much a moment that has taken people by surprise. Some people still write, they're like, oh, I didn't know that there was a female Wiggle. And so you get that every now and then, but definitely now, 9 years later, it's a real change. And, people have embraced having a female Wiggle. And look, I know even being an original Wiggles fan, there was some hesitancy, oh no, the Wiggles should be like this. But people are very relaxed and children are really flexible, so they're very open to that.
Definitely.
Well, I'm glad you were welcomed with open arms.
Definitely, yeah.
No. It wasn't the case when we started, but little by little it grew. But that's because there was lots of teenagers that remembered the Wiggles, and it was important for their childhood. And so, we were kind of not representing what they grew up with. And that's so fine. But actually, after many years, though that particular generation was like, oh no, I'm relaxed, I had my Wiggles, I can see that these Wiggles are the Wiggles for the children of the now. So that's natural, that's going to happen. But
definitely.
9 years later, we're still wiggling.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the Wiggles 30th anniversary is this year. How do you feel about being a part of a group that has impacted multiple generations across the last 30 years? Have you been reflecting on that at all?
Is this answer going to be the same? It's a lot.
That's fine.
So, I'm seeing a theme. Yeah, it's okay.
I think because I used to watch the Wiggles, and I'm guessing both of you
are
that generation too. It feels very like happy memories of my childhood watching them on TV. And for us, they would perform like at our community halls, because at that time the group was really, really young. And so to be part of the 30th anniversary is very excitingly weird. I have to like kick myself to know that we're able to help celebrate this 30th tradition of music and entertainment for children. And I feel very honored, and I hope that this will continue for another 30 years.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then some. So,
and then some.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Wiggles are never going to stop wiggling. It's just going to be a constant growth.
Exactly.
That's right. Constant groove. I like it.
Yeah.
So you guys sometimes do 3 shows in a day, and we also heard that you don't warm up your voice before doing shows. Firstly, how do you still have a voice? Because that's a lot. And do you have any pre-show rituals? Because we know that it's a lot when you step onto that stage. You have to perform, you have to sing, you have to dance, and you also have to engage a bunch of kids. How does that happen?
And we also know that question was a lot, so take it bit by bit.
Sorry about that.
We're trying to squeeze in as much as we can.
It's a lot. And naturally for me, singing isn't something that I grew up with. So because my background is in dance, that always has felt very natural to me. So yes, for like before the show and while I'm in between shows or on days off, I love to do ballet or Pilates or yoga. This is my yoga mat that I'm sitting on. Trying to keep my body still flexible and strong, because I think now that I notice as I get older, it gets harder. And for me, I had endometriosis surgery, a laparoscopy about 4 years ago now, and that was a really long recovery too. That was about 2 years. So definitely yoga has been really important for me to try and rebuild my body back for the shows, and that has been a very important pre-show ritual for me moving forward. But I tend to not warm up my voice because I don't really know how. As in, I have to give credit for the 2 amazing singers in our group, Lockie Wiggle and Simon Wiggle, who are from musical backgrounds in terms of singing. So Simon was an opera singer and still is, and Lockie is a musical theatre trained singer. So both of them, that feels natural for them, whereas I have to teach them how to do the splits, and they have to teach me how to do the harmonies. So we have a mutual beneficial relationship.
Yeah, there's
we
good
help
overlap.
each other with these skills. Yeah. And sometimes I'll find myself warming up my voice in a very basic way if it's cold weather. But generally the songs, in terms of what I sing as part of the show, is in my normal speaking range usually. And it is very much story singing for the children. Like I would love to be like Ariana Grande, but I cannot sing like her. And I'm very happy to admit that. And somebody did point out to me, a sound recordist in Australia, that I'm not Mariah Carey, and I totally agreed with them. And yeah, I think when my body's really warm, then I feel ready, even with my voice. Yeah. And so for me, it really is like warming up the temperature of my whole body, and then I feel like I'm ready, even though I really should do some more scales.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be too hard to warm up your body when you're doing 2 or 3 shows every single day.
Exactly.
So. Exactly. But to get to that first one, you notice your body temperature changes over the day. And we do 3, or we generally do 4 shows a day in Australia.
Oof, that's a lot.
We do 2 and 3 in America because the venues are bigger. But in Australia, the first show you sweat a lot because your body's just getting used to it, and then by the end of the day you don't sweat as much because your body's sitting at a better temperature. And I think my body has acclimatized to my costume, and that's been happening quite a lot. It just tends to even out over the day. Really.
How do you guys keep that energy then, like the same amount of energy for those kids for 3 or 4 shows in a day?
I think it's them. They are super excited, and for them it's the first time. So even if it's our 4th show, that you get a whole another group of children, and the minute you curtain goes up, they're like, yeah. It's amazing that it feels like the audience energy just replenishes every time the children come in. And that is the best thing about this particular job, if you could call it that. It's that the children are so enthusiastic, that we're so lucky that children are our audience, because it gives you life.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. So as we said, the Wiggles have been together for 30 years, doing shows for 30 years. And how has COVID changed that for you guys? And how do you guys plan to keep it an interactive show in a post-COVID world?
Feels like this is almost the anniversary of when we stopped doing shows. So we did 2 shows in Sydney, Australia, and then we had a lockdown. So immediately we didn't tour. And right now I'm in hotel quarantine in New Zealand. And we're hoping to do our first tour since COVID lockdown. And look, that will be really special. But in the last year, we've managed to flip into doing production. And so for us, we've been trying to film new TV series, new video specials to release on iTunes, or in Canada in Chorus, or in America Netflix. And so we've been trying to create as much stuff as we possibly can, so that when we start to tour again, we've got the opportunity to have the new visual content out there. But yeah, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live has been a real exciting change for us to connect with people instantly on the spot, because parents, even though the children aren't necessarily writing the questions, usually it's like, oh, my daughter Molly wants to say hi. Usually the parents want to know all the other things. They're like, oh, and how many costumes do you have? Is that the Wiggle house in the background? Oh, can you show us a close-up of the door? You know, those are the kinds of questions. And then you don't realize that that's what people are really interested into knowing. And it's so nice. Then you get to take the computer and, you know, go over to the set and show them everything. So that's, you know, you don't get that in the live show. So there are differences.
And the way you're describing it seems like the parents are more into it than the kids.
Oh, yeah. I mean, essentially, social media is a place for parents to really engage in terms of writing things and posting things. But, you know, we can't underestimate children now who are able to navigate a screen like no tomorrow. And so particularly for them, for YouTube, which is why YouTube Kids is amazing, because it's all curated and it's protected. And so that's really a great platform so that children can just literally swipe through the videos and know that all of the content there is safe for them to watch. But again, we're trying to bring about new content onto our YouTube channel, because we know that it's the best way for us to bring out our new music and our content to people in every territory around the world. So we're lucky.
Definitely. Yeah. So you were actually the Wiggle to start incorporating ASL into all the dances and the live show and just everything. What inspired you to start that, and how has it been just incorporating ASL into dances? Is it more difficult, or does it make it easier because it gives you something to work around?
Yeah, that is a great question, and it's something that I feel truly passionate about. And mainly because I grew up with 2 deaf friends, and I was so infatuated with the language at the age of 7 because I thought that it was like a secret language between us. And at that time, that's what I knew it as. And I knew that they communicated with sign language 24 hours a day, but I would only do it when I came over to their house, which was quite often. And I think because I love dance so much, I was used to using my body for expression, and so it felt very natural for me. But I didn't learn it properly, Australian Sign Language, until a lot later. And then I wasn't able to do the course because we were on tour. So for me, it was a very casual, I'm a very casual signer in the fact that I have lots of deaf friends, but have never had the chance to study properly. But in COVID, they had to change the course so you could do it online. So finally, I've done my diploma in Australian Sign Language. And so some of the linguistics elements or the way that the language is built in terms of the grammar is very similar to ASL, but essentially ASL is completely different. It's very expressive. It has a whole different vocabulary and it's beautiful. Auslan and ASL. And so for me, I'm not as proficient in ASL and I would love to be. It's going to be something that I need to learn. Do you both know ASL?
I'm trying to learn it.
Okay. Well, we have to then make ourselves learn it.
Definitely, yeah.
It has to be a goal. And I think after incorporating Auslan into the shows in Australia, then that kind of felt natural to incorporate ASL in the show where it was applicable and appropriate. So mostly it was for the ABC song, which was very, standard. It makes sense, and you're right. It's actually helpful for me. I remember what letter comes next.
Of course,
as opposed to singing, I'm much more in tune with my body and the way that it's going through the show. So for me, I will know what happens by what the shape is rather than singing.
Okay.
So we try to incorporate certain signs into songs when it's appropriate, but we've been given some amazing consultation and advice over many years that really for us, we need to make sure if something is going to incorporate sign language, it needs to be completely in sign or completely not. And supported by captions or, voice or text or, and I think as we move forward with technology, it'll be amazing to see how we can improve the integration of sign language and media for those that may not be able to hear or that may not be able to use English as a language. So it's something that we're constantly trying to refine. We did use ASL in the show with Marlee Matlin, and Marlee Matlin came to film with us, and I was so starstruck. I could not breathe. And she signed in ASL with me a classic Wiggle song, which was called I Love It When It Rains. I think that's on our Wiggle YouTube page. And she was just a dream. And I just hope that we can collaborate with her again. We just haven't been over to America for ages. But we did have some amazing interpreters at our show in LA. And I did not pay attention to the show because I was watching them the whole time because they were amazing in interpreting not just the language as part of the show, but very much the mood and the feeling of the voice and the singing. I just want to say thank you because they did an amazing job, and it's something that we should be able to incorporate more going forward.
Definitely. That's awesome that they were also able to capture your energy that you guys were having on stage and still putting it through in sign language. Exactly. They weren't just kind of like sitting there, just like, no emotion, just kind of signing. That's awesome.
It was so good. I just love them. They were a group of interpreters in LA. And I couldn't pay attention to the show because they were awesome. And we had some deaf friends in the audience, and they were, they were included. They knew what was going on, and I was like, yes, everybody can know. This is great. And so that for me should happen. I feel like that's a responsibility that I have to make sure that the show is as inclusive as it possibly can.
Definitely.
And accessible as it possibly can. So it's a growing project, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So you guys recently did a Triple J's Like a Version session. How did that happen, and what made you guys choose a Tame Impala song to cover out of all the possible songs you could cover? Will there be more covers in the future, and how did you mix your iconic song Fruit Salad into the mixture here?
Glory, she's going. She's like, what did you like it, Glory?
Oh, I loved it. I just listened to it again last night, and it was, I didn't expect the fruit salad in it, and it banged. It was amazing. Yeah.
I never thought in a million years I would see the Wiggles cover something other than like just one of your songs.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
Do you have you seen Like a Version before?
Yes. I mean, I've watched a couple because like we've interviewed other Australian artists that have done it. But it's not like something I sit down and watch every single day,
Yeah.
What other Aussie artists have you interviewed?
The Fame, Stand Atlantic.
Stand Atlantic did one right before we interviewed them.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm trying to think. There were a couple more, but those are the two that come to my head off the
Yeah, and it is, I mean, because it's based in Australia, it's really popular, and so, you know, it's the very similar thing to the Wiggles for me. Like, I have grown up listening to Triple J's like a version for a very long time. And so when they approached us, I was like, oh, this is a lot.
Yeah.
This is a lot. This is going to be super exciting. What are we going to choose? And we wanted to make sure we chose a band that was Aussie. And so that's why we chose Tame Impala. And you know, at the Australian Music Awards, the ARIAs, we see Tame Impala from a distance, like collecting about 9 awards.
Oh my God.
And, you know, we would have loved to been able to meet them at the time, but yeah, sometimes you just don't get close enough.
Yeah.
As they collected all their awards, we were like, God. Wow, there they go. Oh
my God, there they go again.
Oh, there they are. And so, you know, I think for us, it was really, we wanted to make sure that we were paying tribute to the band and trying to do the best version of the song that we possibly could. So we had to practice, which isn't like us. We don't normally practice.
Really?
And so this was a huge thing for us as musicians. When I say musicians, not generally me, but for the actual, you know, trained musicians, I have just fallen into the drum kit as a very passionate hobby in the last couple of years, but I actually love it. And so we practice, and for me, I didn't realize how difficult the song was going to be until we got into it. And then we thought, we were like, oh, nailed it, it's going to be easy, we're fine. And then as it went on, we were like, this song is complex.
Yeah.
And so we wanted to make sure it had a wiggly touch on it, and so we added in fruit salad in the same, you know, kind of phrasing as the song, but we just changed the keyboard and guitar solo into fruit salad riff instead. And look, we had a ball, but it was so, you know, you in the video you probably can't tell, but we're all like focusing. We're all very focused. We're like, we don't want to make a mistake. And so, you know, I think that's probably some of the most practice we've ever done for any kind of concert, and it's been amazing, the response.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
So will there be more Wiggles covers?
Would you like more?
I would love an entire album of them personally.
Honestly, yeah, that would be.
Hi, management, if you're watching, I got great ideas. Hit us up.
Great ideas, yeah.
Okay. Well, if you've got some requests, you know, feel free to send them through, because I'm sure that once we see, you know, people really wanting more things like it, or slightly different way of doing it, you know, we're open to that. The great thing is that we've got a chance now to, you know, respond to people's feedback. And so, look, I'm open to the suggestions. I'd love to try it again, but we're going to need to practice.
Definitely. That's fair. Awesome. Cool. So this question should be super, super fast. Off the top of your head, I want you to describe this album that you just released in 3 words.
Best, happy, dance.
Wonderful. Best, happy, dance. I love that so
That's
much.
great. So how do you manage to balance putting out multiple albums a year, your touring life, recording both like albums, shows, everything? It says in your Instagram bio that you're studying for a PhD, and also your personal life. How the hell are you managing all that? Because I would collapse.
Yeah, I would.
It's a lot. And the reason why it's so fun is because it's a lot. And so you're right, we do have, we generally put out about 60 songs a year.
That's so much.
And that is just on an actual album release. So behind that, we're creating at least another 100 pieces of music to go under our TV series. And so there's a lot of music a lot of the time. And we're generally, when we're recording, we might record 4 or 5 songs a day, as opposed to spending 3 days on one song as a normal recording artist would. And we totally understand why that music is that way, because it's very particular. But for us, it's very much a band, so we're able to play all together most of the time or sing all together, and it is naturally how we would be on stage. So it's a little bit quicker in that sense. And we have a schedule where we know that we have to tour and record and do this and do that. And so we're kind of used to flipping between all the different kinds of areas of the Wiggles. And it just so has been over the last year that we've mainly done recording. So I feel like we've done even more music.
I was looking through your Spotify. I was like, whoa.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, there's a lot. And I think because we're used to doing that amount of, exporting of tracks, it feels natural for us to be able to keep feeding the musical landscape of the Wiggles on our digital platforms. And it's exciting. And, normally we usually do about 3 albums a year. So there'll be 2 of different music and there'll be a compilation kind of album. And that might be things that we might have just done on our TV series. So generally, mostly it's new tracks. And yeah, I think the creative fire and magic as part of the Wiggles is definitely in that music creation. It's definitely Anthony's biggest driver for the show. He's grown up playing so many different instruments. He's so in tune with different music around the world, and so for him it's a creative expression. He'll come in and be like, I've got this idea and I'm thinking about this song with this theme. Okay, next one I'm thinking kind of, it just rolls through because that's how the expression of his creativity, rolls. It pours out of him in that way. And so that's really how we've been able to write and record and release so many new songs.
Okay.
Oh my God. All right. Again, I would probably just pass out constantly. So
we're struggling to keep the podcast afloat, let alone balance personal lives and everything. Yeah. Wow.
That's a lot. And a podcast is not an easy feat. So well done.
Thank you. So you brought up music and you guys putting out multiple albums a year. I noticed that you actually had your own album based around ballet. That's amazing. What was it like making that, and why did you make it? It's such a cool, I thought it was so cute. It was amazing. I loved it.
Really has been, there's been 2 kind of spin-off Emma projects. So after lots of particularly children and families in Australia had seen the Wiggles, then there was a demand to do an Emma series. And so still as Emma Wiggle, we filmed Emma Series 1 and Emma Series 2. But in North America, those series aren't on TV, but they're on YouTube. So you can actually watch them, you can purchase them on YouTube, but that's not widely known. So that's one excitement for you. And so out of those series, there was very much a heavy influence of dance. And then we created the Emma Ballet Bar. And it's this cute little bar that has bows on it and then a ballet mat. And so that album is all the music from the ballet mat exercises.
Yeah.
And I actually go through a ballet class in that album. So it's next exercise, demi-plie. And then we do plie. So it talks the children through how to perform each ballet move. And so that's what that album is. And so that kind of continues, and right now we've just finished filming Emma Series 3.
Ooh. Okay.
So
oh my God.
Hopefully you'll see an album for Emma Series 3 coming soon, and obviously the footage, but we'll let you know when it comes out. But yes, on Spotify there's Emma, which is Emma Series 1, Emma 2, that's on there as well, and there's Emma's Ballet Bar, and that. Yes.
That's amazing. That's so cool how you're teaching kids just ballet. I love that so much.
Have you learned ballet?
Oh God. I can't do ballet. I swim. That's my thing. So
I love swimming. Laps.
Yeah, competitive. I haven't done it in a while because COVID, but I used to do competitive swimming. So
will you go back to that?
if the world opens up again, yeah, definitely. I do want to, but.
Are you both based in the same city?
No. I'm in New Jersey.
And I'm in Virginia.
Oh, wow. Well, this is a very multi-city podcast already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Will you still be wiggling? Do you have anything else in mind? Like, what's your plan? Where do you see yourself?
That's good thoughts. I feel I'm very excited to release the Emma Series 3, and we're also releasing a new Wiggle series, which is called Ready, Steady, Wiggle 3. So hopefully both of these series will be able to be seen over the next 12 months, which is super exciting. And then hopefully from there, we'll see what kind of themes people are connecting to, and we'll make video releases from there. And for us, we're constantly creating content around the TV series. So we'll wait and see what's happening. But we are releasing a Halloween video release, which is pretty cute. And we've only just started that, so that will be coming out too. I hope we'll probably film in the next 5 years another Wiggly series, another Emma series maybe, and I guess there'll be a sort of a moment to celebrate the new generation of Wiggles in their 10th year as well. So that'll be coming up. And for me personally, I have to finish my PhD.
Yeah.
And so I'm just doing a lot of writing while we're in COVID. And so that's basically it.
Okay.
All right. Solid.
It's a lot.
It is.
It
I
is.
still don't understand how you're balancing everything. Like, that is a talent, a massive talent.
So if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
I need to hear your answers first. I need some context because these are amazing questions.
Dire Wimpy Kid.
Peaky Blinders.
Oh, no. This is bad, isn't it? I've never even thought about it.
It's a very important question.
It's a very important question.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess it's different if I am answering from an adult perspective as opposed to a children's perspective. But I guess for me, it feels like it needs to be like Disney. Like it needs to be, I need to be in a fairyland of some description.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure what that is, but I like Fantasia, that vibe. Like
yeah.
Something where it's like a musical fictional land.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with Fantasia.
Okay. Yeah, you would fit in there like perfectly.
Yeah.
We also don't get Disney movies enough, so thank you for that.
Yeah, we always get like Harry Potter and Star Wars.
I was thinking about Harry Potter, but then I thought I need to do a bit of dancing. So I'll pop over to Fantasia, if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds great. So I actually have the honor of asking the last question. Every single person we've spoken to has said it is the most important question. What is your favorite color? Yellow.
Yellow.
That works perfectly.
I figured.
Oh my god.
And I didn't even have to think about that one.
Yeah.
I know, I genuinely love yellow, and I feel like it used to be my school uniform as well.
Oh.
And I had in my ballet exam, you get a little ribbon that represents your height. So if you go in a group of 4, the shortest girl gets blue, then pink, then blue, then yellow, and then white. And for some reason, I got to have yellow quite a few times.
Oh.
So I've always loved it. It's a very happy color, and it was my nana's favorite color.
Aww.
So I do like it a lot.
Okay.
It's a very good color.
Yes. So as Gloria said, that is all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Oh, really? Just the album? Like, listen now. Get a hang on that, because there's not just the original versions, but we've recorded new versions of our songs on there as well. So it's really special because it is obviously a compilation album, but there are new versions of some of the songs which are different.
Yeah,
Exactly.
solid.
All right. Well, thank you for now. This has been Emma from the Wiggles, and we're the Good Noise podcast.